The following podcast is part of the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. For advertising information or to find more great podcasts, visit us at www.theunderdogsports.com and follow us on Twitter at RealTheUnderdog.
Okay. Well, just for the record, we got the Sunny in Phoenix too.
52 to...
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the Sunny in Phoenix podcast, a weekly podcast where we keep you up to date on everything Phoenix Suns basketball. My name is Charlie Erling, and we've got Mitch Crumpetich in the house.
It's a weird time in the NBA.
It is. I don't know what to do with myself right now, but we'll try to bring you a little basketball news right here. We'll break down the Suns versus Blazers game that we saw on, I believe that was the 10th, so 6 days ago?
Yep.
Yeah, we're grasping, but we have one game to talk about, and after that, we'll just talk about the whole coronavirus issue, especially within the NBA, and what we think might happen after this is all fixed up.
Follow us on Twitter at SunnyandPHXPod. Same thing for Instagram. Go on iTunes, leave us a 5-star review and a comment, and you will get a shout out on the show.
Update on our bet question from last week. Luckily, we chose this Portland game from 6 days ago to be the game for our bet question. And the question was, how many points will Javon Carter score? I said 8, Charlie said 6, so I won that. 2-0 in March, but I don't know what's going to happen with that if we don't have games in March. So we might just have to call this one a wash, but I don't know yet. But shout out to @SunderusDunks on Twitter, who picked 10 points. He said Javon Carter would score 10. He had 8, but he was the closest. So shout out to @SunderusDunks on Twitter, who could possibly be our final bet question champion of the season. Who knows what's going to happen?
Oh, that'd be sad.
I think he's probably... I think SunderusDunks, either SunderusDunks or Comic Evangelist, those guys are probably the top of the board for most wins this season. I'd have to go back and look, but I'd say one of those two.
I hope they're tied, and then maybe we bring them on during our hiatus here from basketball games, and then hit them with some trivia.
That's not a bad idea.
I don't know if those guys would be willing to come on, but if they want to hop on Skype,
yeah,
maybe that would be a fun little game show during the basketball hiatus.
Yeah, okay. Hit us up. That could be fun. You guys are always very engaged on Twitter, so if you're interested, let us know. That'd be cool.
Okay, game recap. Just one. We got the Trailblazers game. This was in Portland. The Suns lost 121-105. And this saw the entire Trailblazers team, starting 5, scoring double digits. 4 out of the 5 had 20-plus points. And they just really handled us. They came out, scored 36 in the first quarter, and it just really wasn't looking good right off the bat in this one.
Yeah, this was a poor game for us. Pretty unfortunate that this was our last game before the hiatus. I think it's tough when Carmelo Anthony scores 21 on 9 for 16 shooting, because he hasn't really done that a ton this season. So that's usually a recipe for disaster. But, Damian Lillard with 25, CJ McCollum with 22, Trevor Ariza with 22. That's also rough. But I know Dame was probably out for revenge after having a bad game a week before this. So I don't know. It makes sense. And I know we kind of said this is probably going to be a loss because these guys are going to come out firing.
Yeah, they're a little more into the playoff race than we are, and they really couldn't afford to lose to the Phoenix Suns twice in a week or so. I was expecting us to struggle in this one, but yeah, Dame and CJ, 25 points, 22 for CJ, and then 21 for Carmelo, 22 for Ariza. Whiteside had 16 and 14 rebounds. So, yeah. And I got to say, Whiteside did a much better job on Baines this game. Baines really struggled. 1 for 7 from 3. Whiteside was actually stepping out there to contest a lot of those shots. 3 for 14 from the floor overall. He only had 2 rebounds. 7 points, and that was in almost 34 minutes. So Whiteside got his revenge this game for sure.
Yeah, he did. But we can't expect Baines to score 37 on a nightly basis. So.
I can. I expect that out of Baines.
Okay. I guess some of us can't expect that. I would say most
Baines
of us
fan
don't.
club,
Baines fan club, yeah. Yeah, follow them for their tournament of the ABs. I'm rooting pretty hard for Asiago Bagel, actually. So we'll see. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. But yeah, Baines struggled. We actually had some okay production from our starters. Booker had 29 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, but it was on 9 for 25 shooting. So that's not his usual efficiency. Dario Saric had a great game, though, with 24 points, 11 rebounds on 9 for 16 shooting. Love that. And Rubio had 21 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists. He was 11 for 11 from the free throw line, too. So really getting to the line. But other than that, we didn't really have anything. Our bench had a combined 16 points, and that came from 2 players. So yeah, it's pretty tough when only 2 guys from your bench score.
That's very true. And something I have to say, we don't have much good to say about Trevor Ariza around here, but his defense on Booker was top notch, really. Yeah, Booker scored 29, but 9 for 25. That's not Booker efficiency right there. And Ariza really was dogging him, and it does show that he still has something in the tank, but we just don't see it come out every night as NBA fans, and that's when we can maybe give him a little crap. But overall, I don't know. Trevor Ariza, we'll see if he's playing in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I mean, he probably won't be. We'll get to that. We'll get to all of that. Yeah, I mean, Trevor Ariza is one of those guys that's like probably only going to play well against the Suns. So, like, okay, join Ish Smith if you really want. Like, or good. Ish Smith and Dragan Bender. That's not great company. So, no. I don't know. I don't really like Trevor Ariza. So.
No. Well, I don't either. But let's get back to the Suns a little bit. You mentioned Dario. He had 24 points, 11 rebounds, and he's really been getting into the swing of things lately, and maybe that's the biggest disappointment, the fact that we're going to be losing some games here, because as a team, we've all been coming together nicely, but especially Dario. He's had a nice stretch here. Yeah,
he has. And in the Trailblazers game from the week before this, he had a good game too. So, this hiatus really is tough for guys like him who are finally finding their stride. But yeah, I mean, I've been happy with Dario. I think it'll be really interesting to see if we decide to bring him back or not, or, if he wants to come back, because, after the way his season went pretty up and down with, I'd say a little bit more down, I don't know if he's going to get a lot of money from another team. Right. So, this could actually bode well for us as a team to be able to re-sign Dario at a discount.
Sure. And if you look at all the salary cap going around and the possibility of the cap going down next year, it's going to be interesting. Some teams will have that MLE money that they'll be able to send out, similar to how we got Kaminsky this year. I could see someone doing that with Dario next year. But otherwise, there's not a lot of teams with cap space who can sign him to a ton. Not saying that he deserves a ton, but it'll be interesting. This offseason will be interesting. And with everything going on right now, everything could be interesting. When's the NBA draft going to be? Are they going to make up the season? Let's talk about that a little bit. And one thing, let's try to keep it on this page at first. We're talking that this was not an advantage for Dario because he was playing well, seemed like he was climbing the hill and was playing great basketball, and now there's no basketball. But on the other page of that, we have a few injuries and some guys who are really helpful to our team that we might get to see again this season now, depending on what the NBA does, in Frank Kaminsky and especially Kelly Oubre. Oubre was out for what was it, 4 weeks?
Yeah, like 4 to 6, I think.
And this is going to line up pretty tight if 30 days from last week, whatever that day was exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to be close to that.
Yeah, 30-day hiatus is going to be perfect for Kelly. So, there are a couple benefits to this. I think especially for Frank, because there was a chance Kelly was going to come back before this hiatus too.
Right.
But Frank needs every single day he can get. We don't really know how long this hiatus is going to be. It could be more than 30 days. I think it could be less too, but I don't really anticipate that.
Right.
So,
I think 30 days will be the minimum.
Or no, yeah. Wait, did they say at least 30 days? Yeah.
So from what I remember hearing right when it came out, it said that they'd readdress it in 30 days. So it sounds like we'll give it that full 30 and then figure it out. Hopefully on the 31st day we already are either playing games or they're already scheduled or whatever.
I hope so. I really hope so. I mean, if you look at how this whole coronavirus has been going, it's kind of interesting because in China, they just resumed basketball for their league. And they had to take a break in January. So that's a little bit longer than 30 days. I'm hoping it doesn't go quite like that. But I know China and Australia have resumed basketball. But that's a pretty long break from the middle of January to the middle of March. That's 2 months. So it could be more like 60 days.
Yeah, we really don't know. And something I don't know about those leagues did they have players confirmed with the virus? What
I don't
point
know.
did that happen? Did they shut down right after that? Did they do it preventively? I don't know about all that. So I know that Rudy Gobert, Christian Wood, is there any
Donovan Mitchell?
Mm-hmm. There's a few guys that are confirmed. So, and one of the things, right, the day they suspended basketball, someone made a little flow chart of the Suns play the Blazers, who play the Kings, who play the how that could just pass through all 30 NBA teams that quickly.
Yeah. I think it's like within 5 days, every team will have contact of some sort because of all the travel and playing so many games in such a short period of time.
They share planes. Yeah, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, I do think that this is a smart move. I think they did what they had to. I'm glad they didn't cancel the season altogether, unlike the NCAA. I am pretty upset that they just canceled the tournament. Why couldn't we have May Madness? What's wrong with that?
That is a good question, and I guess that depends on how long you can keep students at school, or if there's do the finals come into play? I mean finals college, as in taking tests.
Right, college baseball, they go through the summer.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So why can't we play the tournament in May? Why was it canceled altogether?
Yeah, I'm a little bummed out about it.
I'm very bummed out.
Here, this is a good segue. Let's talk about things that we'd like to see happen to fix this up, what the NBA might do, things that we've heard. And one that I just came up with before the show, and I'm sure this has been thrown around, not saying that I came up with it, but I think we should do an NBA single elimination tourney, all 30 teams, just like March Madness, half the size, but do it for the whole NBA. If we're going to have to cancel the regular season, that would be fun. And it'd give everyone their March Madness fix. You see the games that mean so much. It's win or go home. I think that'd be a lot of fun. It's unprecedented and very unlikely, but I think it'd be a blast.
I think that would be really fun too. I think that's an interesting idea with what Adam Silver has been talking about with this mid-season tournament as well.
Yeah.
To do something like that and maybe try it out. I don't know how people would respond to, having the NBA championship come from this potential mid-season tournament type type tournament. I think it would be really fun. As Suns fans, I think we would all be excited because we get to play postseason basketball for the first time in forever.
Give us a shot. Let's see Devin Booker in a real win or go home game. We've never seen that.
Yeah, that would be cool. I highly, highly, highly doubt that would happen, but it would be really cool. Yeah, that would be fun. I think that there's a few different things that I've heard. The first one that I think is interesting is picking up the season after it's been deemed safe and everything and playing a certain number of regular season games. I know it's been suggested to just pick a number, whether it be 68 or 70 or something like that, where every team plays whatever amount of games it is to get them to 70 games played on the season or something like that, and then start the playoffs. I think that's a pretty likely outcome, or it could be just play your next 5 games. That's possible too. To do something like that, just pick a number, a fixed number, play that many games for the regular season to kind of get back into the swing of things, and then just start the playoffs. I think that makes sense because it wouldn't derail next season too much. It wouldn't derail the draft too much, training camp, summer league, all of that. So, I could see that happening.
Yeah, and I think that'd be the method I'd most prefer. I think getting everyone to an equal amount of games would be necessary, though. I think that would have to be the way to do it. Mm-hmm. But logistically, is that going to be possible? You'd have to change schedules up to make sure that teams are playing other teams with the right amount of games to get to the 70 game total or whatever. So that'd be pretty interesting.
That would be interesting, yeah, because if they just said, okay, everyone's going to play until they get to 70, we're one of the teams that has played more games. And I know I think the Grizzlies have played a few less. So let's say we were scheduled to play the Grizzlies, but we had already played 70 games, then they'd have to pick someone else, I guess.
Yeah,
that's kind of weird.
I wonder how they do that. And I wonder if they'd have to worry about division opponents or conference opponents. Do you have to, because tiebreakers, if you want to get into that would be crazy. I want all of that as we talk about it right now. It makes me think that'd be tougher than maybe just saying everyone play 5 games.
Yeah, that's an interesting point that I hadn't thought of. It might not even come to that. Some people just say, just start the playoffs. Just as soon as we come back, just start the playoffs. I don't think that's smart. I think that's kind of just asking for a lot of injuries, because we all know that the playoffs are played a little bit more physically. The officiating changes a bit, and the guys aren't really practicing together very much. The league is saying, don't practice together. So I think that's kind of dangerous, but it's possible.
That could be a little dangerous. Get just throwing everybody back out there into, high intensity playoff games. Mm-hmm. But looking at the standings right now, I don't think. Let's see here. The Wizards, the 9 seed Wizards, are 5.5 back from the 8 seed Magic over in the East. The 8 seed Grizzlies are 3.5 games in front of the Trailblazers right now. So it wouldn't be total robbery to just call it right now. I'd say I think the Grizzlies deserve that 8 seed at this point.
I agree.
So that wouldn't be too wild, but moving straight into the playoffs after this break, that would be interesting.
Yeah, it would. And then the other suggestion I've seen is just play the rest of the season. Play the full rest of the season and then the playoffs, and just end in August. I don't know. I don't think that's a great idea.
There's so many things that need to happen between now or crowning the champion and then starting next season. How do you fit that all in? It's crazy. And I wonder if they've already written off Summer League already. We love going to Summer League, and they've made it into a great product. And all the teams are there. They bring in a couple foreign teams even. The arena gets pretty full for every game. It's a pretty cool thing. And, Las Vegas, there's money to be made for the city of Las Vegas and the NBA due to Summer League for sure.
For sure.
And I wonder what their eyes are on coming to that. And the draft, I've heard the NFL draft thinking about doing it virtually.
Yeah.
That's something. There's just so much. And the draft itself, all these college guys who aren't getting a chance to, solidify their stock or have a insane tournament and jump up 20 spots in the mock drafts, we're missing out on all that as fans, and the front offices, they can't get a read on these prospects as closely as they maybe could.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I know they are limiting some of the scouting as well because they don't want travel and they don't want people being in person as much. So, hopefully we can resume that again, because a lot of those interviews and the in-person workouts, they start much later. But I mean, this is going to have a huge impact. Canceling the tournament is so huge. Delaying all of this. I mean, what if we were to just play the rest of the regular season and have the playoffs and have the draft be like right after or still in the middle of the playoffs like baseball does? It's not the playoffs, but they're doing their draft in the middle of the season, and it's way different because, a lot of times they're drafting prospects rather than guys who are going to come in and play right away. But other leagues do it, so it's kind of an interesting thought.
How about this topic? As an NBA player, would you want the season shortened? Because if you're a guy like LeBron chasing career records, or there's a lot of guys that are even doing that, or even guys chasing a season record right now. I'm not sure if anyone is, but guys like that, do they want to see the season shortened and move straight to the playoffs?
I think it depends who you are. I think Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are loving this.
Yeah.
I think LeBron probably not. Well, I don't know though, because LeBron is trying to play with his son, so the extra rest could be helpful. But, he is chasing a lot of records, so that's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know what to think there really, because in the big scheme of things, a guy who plays a 15-year NBA career, is it really gonna hurt that much to be missing 20 some games off your?
I don't know. For a guy like LeBron, I do think that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
With the amount of points he puts up, the amount of he fills up the stat sheet every night. That's gonna make a difference.
Yeah. I wonder if there's any difference between the Players Association and the front offices. I wonder what the give and take is on all this.
Well, I think the front offices are terrified.
Because yeah,
is out on money.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah, I'd say they're going to be missing out on some money this year for sure. I just do not see a way that everything gets made up and a full playoffs happens.
Yeah.
Can we think of anything like this that's ever happened before? There's been strikes,
a
lockout or a strike, but never anything.
Well, that reminds me of another thing. Is I heard this suggested, I believe it was on the No Dunks podcast. They were saying, remember the lockout where they didn't start the season until Christmas? I forget when that was. It was a few years ago. They were saying if we were to play the full rest of the season and go into August and everything, we could push everything back and do another shortened season starting at Christmas.
Yeah, or even, it doesn't even have to be that. It can just be the amount of games that go overboard. You know what I like?
Yeah.
Whatever goes past a certain date, you can take that many out of the schedule for next year.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, owners aren't going to want to do that, though. I can't think of an owner who's going to vote to do that.
No. Yeah, this is all really fun stuff to think about, and it's something that we never need to think about. So it's kind of fun just hopping in and thinking what could happen.
Yeah, it's pretty uncharted territory. And I mean, all of the emails that we've gotten from the Suns are pretty much saying we don't know what's going to happen yet. Like, hold tight. So that's where we're at right now. We're just kind of in this position of we don't know where we're going to go from here.
Well, if anyone at the NBA wants to get in contact with us, just hit us up on Twitter, and we'll keep bringing these great ideas to the table.
Yeah,
if you need an outside perspective, we're your guys.
That's true. We do have that ability. I mean, yeah, I think that's about all we have for this week. I know it's a bit of a shorter episode, but that's all we have. So if there's anything you want to hear us talk about, let us know on Twitter at Sunny and PHX Pod. We've got a few fun ideas. We want to keep coming out with episodes because we know with no basketball, podcasts and that kind of thing are what people are hanging on to. So maybe we'll look into some past seasons or do some evergreen kind of stuff. We'll think of something fun.
Maybe live stream a one-on-one.
I don't know if anyone wants to see that. Oh, I did see. I saw a video of two kids doing a in-home mini basketball championship. Did you see that video?
I did not know.
It's pretty funny. Yeah, check that out. People are getting creative with it, but yeah, I mean, we'll keep coming out with some episodes. We'll try to think of something fun. But yeah, if there's anything you wanna hear specifically from us, definitely let us know at Sunny and PHX Pod on Twitter. But with that, we will move into our non-sports section of the show. It's pretty simple this week. What are you doing without basketball for at least 30 days?
Yeah, this is a 30-day non-sports plug going on right here. Yeah. It's a non-sport life for 30 days or more.
Episode next week? No, I'm kidding.
That'd be ridiculous.
Before, but
we could start doing our comedy sketches, Mitch.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but what I plan on doing, and this is something near and dear to my heart, which if you've listened to many episodes, you've heard me talk about it at least once. The game RimWorld. It's on PC. It's my favorite video game of all time. I've been playing it for years, and this was one of those games where I bought in on early access before the game was even finished. It was like $15 or $20 or something like that years ago. And I've watched it grow and grow. And he just put out a new patch. So it was a 1.1 with all these new features to the game and everything, and some DLC. So it's cool. This one-man studio is still pumping stuff out for this game. He's dedicated years to it. And it's really cool. So RimWorld, that's on Steam. Highly recommend checking it out. And that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be playing that a lot. I'm going to isolate myself in my office, and I'm going to play video games as much as I possibly can.
Sounds like all the NBA players too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe D-Book will stream some RimWorld one of these nights.
I'm sure he would be great at that. So, I mean, I'm playing video games. I'm doing what most people are doing, but I'm doing something a little bit different. I've been doing a puzzle. Ooh. I have this 1,000-piece puzzle that I broke out, and I'm starting to get into the groove a little bit. I just leave it out on the table so that I can go and look at it every once in a while. And then here and there, I'll sit down for an hour or two and find some pieces. It's been pretty tough so far. I forgot how difficult these big puzzles can be, but it feels really good when you find a piece that fits. So
nice.
It's starting to come together a little bit more. So if you have a puzzle laying around, now's the time to pull it out.
Yeah, I have this 3D puzzle. I think it came with like a little super glue or something to connect the pieces. And it's so intimidating that I haven't opened it. And I've owned this thing for like at least a decade. I just have it. And I've never been in a position to say, let's do this thing right now. But this might be the time if I can take away some time from RimWorld, which is doubtful, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, that will do it for this week. We thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to check us out on social media, Twitter and Instagram at Sunny and PHX Pod. We will be back again next week. Please give us suggestions if there's anything in particular you want us to talk about. Otherwise, I think we'll come up with something. We'll come up with something. All right, we'll see you guys next week, and go Suns.